After Nikon Z9, 4 years later, the world is still waiting for Chapter 2. The Nikon Z9 II has been coming since late 2024. It missed its original window. Z9 II missed the Winter Olympics. It missed the FIFA World Cup. And now, in the summer of 2026, the question the entire professional photography community is asking has shifted from "what will it be?" to "is Nikon Z9 II actually happening this year?" Let's look at what we've got. Let's establish what we're working from before diving into the numbers. The core Z9 II spec sheet has been circulating through Nikon Rumors, the most consistently reliable Nikon-specific tracking source in the community, since February 2026. Digital Camera World added additional context, noting the rumored specs come with more red flags than you can shake a monopod at. A useful caveat worth keeping in mind. Not all of these figures will survive contact with the actual product, but the directional story they tell is credible and consistent. The headline is a 46-megapixel stacked CMOS sensor, a jump from the original Z9's 45.7 megapixels that sounds modest on paper, but whose real significance lies entirely elsewhere. This new sensor is reportedly 3.5 times faster in readout speed than the first-generation Z9's already impressive stacked architecture. To understand what that means practically, the original Z9's stacked sensor was already so fast it eliminated the need for a mechanical shutter entirely. A sensor that reads 3.5 times faster than that doesn't just improve on existing performance, it opens capabilities that were previously physically impossible. The most dramatic expression of that speed, 60 frames per second, continuous raw shooting at full FX resolution, and 120 frames per second in DX crop mode. Those numbers represent a step change in what professional sports and wildlife photographers can capture. Not just more frames, but more options, more flexibility, and more insurance against the decisive moment arriving between exposures. ISO 32 as a native base setting is the quiet spec that deserves more attention than it's getting. Medium format cameras have historically competed partly on their low native ISO capability, offering shadow detail and highlight latitude that 35mm sensors couldn't match. A flagship mirrorless Z-mount body launching with ISO 32 as a native setting is Nikon signaling that the dynamic range conversation with medium format is now a conversation it expects to win. The flash sync speed of 1/720th second, enabled by the faster sensor readout, would be extraordinary for a mirrorless camera and genuinely useful for professional wedding and event photographers who rely on high-speed sync with powerful strobes. On video, the red integration story is where things get genuinely cinematic. 12-bit R 3D-NE RAW, recording up to 8.3K, 3:2 open gate at 60p, the same red color science workflow that Nikon introduced in the Z-R, now scaled up to flagship-level resolution and open gate capture. Combined with new film simulation LUTs built directly into the camera, the Z9 II appears to be Nikon's clearest statement yet that the line between stills flagship and cinema camera has been erased entirely. Let's cut through the spec list to what actually matters for the people who will use this camera for a living. The 3.5 times faster sensor readout isn't just a performance number. It's an engineering foundation that makes everything downstream more capable. Faster burst rates without buffer compromise, near zero rolling shutter at video resolutions that would have caused problems on the original Z9, and flash sync speeds that were previously the exclusive domain of leaf shutter lenses on medium format bodies. One engineering decision ripples through the entire system. But the biggest strength of the Z9 II isn't a spec at all. It's continuity. The original Z9 earned its reputation not by being perfect out of the box, but by getting meaningfully better over time. Firmware updates that added capabilities, fixed limitations, and expanded what the camera could do months after purchase. Nikon built a trust relationship with Z9 owners that no spec sheet fully captures. The Z9 II inherits that relationship entirely. It's not asking a new audience to take a risk. It's offering existing Z9 users and the broader professional community a next chapter in a story they already believe in. The RED integration is the second pillar. Nikon didn't just acquire RED's patents, They acquired a way of thinking about color science and cinema-grade RAW recording that has been the industry standard in high-end film production for years. Having R3D-NE RAW natively available in a still's first flagship body is genuinely unprecedented. A fashion photographer can deliver stills at 60 frames per second and hand over 8.3K open-gate RAW cinema footage from the exact same shoot with the exact same body. That's not a feature. That's the elimination of an entire equipment category. The Z9 II arrives in a professional flagship market that's been actively contested since the original Z9 proved Nikon had re-entered this conversation seriously. Sony's A1 II is the most direct benchmark. A camera that launched with global shutter, a 50-megapixel stacked sensor, and extremely capable video specs that placed it firmly in the same professional bracket. The A1 II's color science and autofocus remain industry-leading, and Sony's lens ecosystem continues to expand. Whatever the Z9 II brings to the spec comparison, the A1 II won't be embarrassed by it. Canon's EOS R1 has established itself as the choice for photographers who prioritize color science consistency and the Canon lens ecosystem above all else. Canon's autofocus, while not always benchmarked ahead of Nikon's, has earned deep loyalty among sports and event photographers who've built workflows around it for decades. The Z9 II's differentiation strategy is readable across the entire spec sheet. Speed, resolution, and cinema-native RAW recording in a single body. Where Sony leads on global shutter and Canon leads on color science tradition, Nikon is betting that 60 frames per second, RAW at 46 megapixels, with R3D-NE video support, creates a combination that neither competitor can fully replicate. Whether professional photographers agree with that bet is ultimately a workflow question, but as a strategic position, it's a coherent one. Expected price and release. Date. The timeline story here is genuinely complicated, and it deserves a direct answer. The Z9 II originally targeted late 2025. It missed. It then became an early 2026 product. It missed again, reportedly due to CMOS image sensor procurement delays, with key components behind schedule. It was expected to debut at the Winter Olympics for field testing. It didn't. Industry analysts then placed it as the FIFA World Cup camera. By June 2026, reports confirmed that window had also closed. Current best estimates, converging across multiple tracking sources, place the Z9 II in a Q3 to Q4 2026 window, with July through October being the most cited range. Some voices at Digital Camera World have suggested that even the 2026 window may yield only a development announcement rather than a shipping product, with actual retail availability potentially extending into early 2027. The most trustworthy position, watch for movement in August and September, when Canon's R8 II reveal will apply competitive pressure that may accelerate Nikon's announcement timeline. On pricing, community consensus points to $5,999 to $6,999, placing the Z9 II in direct competition with Sony's A1 II and Canon's R1 at the top of the professional mirrorless market. Given the red video capabilities and sensor speed being rumored, the upper end of that range seems more realistic than the lower. The original Z9 arrived quietly and changed the conversation. The Nikon Z9 II has arrived loudly, in rumors, in leaked specs, in missed deadlines and procurement delays and forum debates. It has generated more anticipation, more analysis, and more skepticism than almost any camera in recent memory. And it hasn't even shipped yet. It existed 12 months ago, and no single competitor can fully answer right now. It's coming, probably this year, and based on what we know, it'll be worth every month of waiting. Subscribe so you're there for the first real news. Thanks for watching.